Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe and Love, here to AEW Dynamite review. Happy February! We're in the second month of 2022. But tonight, for AEW Dynamite, we got what was probably the most anticipated match in AEW history. Thus far, MJF, the soon-to-be, well, it's kind of hard to dictate with where things are going, but likely the next AEW World Champion versus CM Punk, his idol, the guy we've seen take pictures with, the guy who he's been fan of. Just a polarizing feud that has escalated with so many good promos back and forth, exchanges, led up to this match tonight. And I don't think it disappointed. I don't think it was a solid conclusion to this feud. So it was in Chicago. And also to of note, first, if you like this video, click that like, as well as you want to see more pro wrestling reviews. Click that subscribe. You can find those on the homepage. But we had a little bit of a change tonight before Dynamite. So it was pegged to be Jon Moxley versus Brian Kendrick. Now, for those who know, for WWE, you'll know that Brian Kendrick has been involved with WWE for the better part of 20 years and was scheduled to make his AEW debut tonight, but was pulled from the card due to bizarre reasons. And assuming social media played a factor into it, and instead we still got a solid match between Jon Moxley and Yuta. It's just unfortunate how we did not get this anticipated debut and match between the two foes. But like I said, Jon Moxley and Yuta, fun match escalated. We got a nice little moments, I would say, between Jon Moxley and Danhausen. So Danhausen is noted after his appearance last week on Dynamite in that lights out match between Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy, that he is big friends with Orange Cassidy and he helped him out. So he was out there tonight as part of the best friends with Orange Cassidy and Yuta. But Yuta had a good showing here tonight. So they were on the outside. Orange Cassidy locked eyes with Moxley. Then he turned around and Danhausen, with his curse symbol that he pretty much exchange on Adam Cole last week. He did the same to Moxley, and that set up a crossbody from Yuta to the outside. Then back in ring, Yuta hit a German suplex Hall with a frog splash for a nice near fall. Then they were exchanging. Moxley hit some elbows, hit a big lariat, followed with a paradigm shift by Moxley for the win. Afterwards, though, while Moxley was celebrating, Bryan Danielson, who has been taking extra attention to Jon Moxley in his return the last number of weeks, appeared in the ring. And he praised Jon Moxley for his return. He told the audience to give it up for him, saying how the audience wants to see him fight, but that's not what he wants. He wants them to fight together. He praised Moxley, saying how he was the greatest AEW World Champion ever, and how with support he'd still be the AEW World Champion. He ran down how someone dressed like a millennial cowboy should not be world champion. Someone who's not dressed like a dinosaur should not be world champion. And someone whose main contribution to society is a vlog, hence Sammy Guevara, should not be a TNT champion. So he noted how they could be champions together. And he said that Moxley should consider the possibility. And then Bryan left. So, leaving a bit of a cliffhanger. Now, a weird way to get to it, but we're eventually going to get a Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson match, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. This was such a one. I didn't really get this segment, but it was hilarious, and then I was just like, uh-oh. But, so Brandy Rhodes was out there, and she ran down about Cleveland, thanking them. She, even though it was actually Chicago, she said it's the same. But she thanked the crowd, and out came Dan Lambert. We had Dan Lambert multiple times again on the show, which I enjoy. He's a hell of a heel on the mic. So, Dan Lambert came out there with Men of the Year and poking fun at Brandy Rhodes, saying how she's fake and this, that, saying Chief Brand Officer is not really a title. And Ethan Page was smirking, laughing in the corner. And Brandy Rhodes said, "What are you laughing about, Ethan? You know the only reason we signed you was to get to Josh Alexander." the North. Again, I'm upset that we don't have the North in AEW, but yeah, that was kind of the philosophy anyway. So they took some more jabs at each other. Dan poked fun at Brandy for her last job, hence AEW or WWE. And so Dan got a nonchalant, just like slap to the face by Brandy Rhodes. And then out came Paige Van Zandt. And she rushed to the ring. And we got this little takedown mini brawl between the two. And all of a sudden, the rest of the women's division came out to separate these two women. And Paige Van Zandt left, and that was that. Now, Dan Lambert is just great. He rated Brandy Rhodes. It was a one-sided segment, Brandy talked about, Dan's best fighter got knocked out by Jake Paul, and that Amanda Nunes, of course, if you follow UFC, you'll know that Amanda Nunes got upset by Juliana Pena in UFC, so there's that, but it was like no contest. Now, Paige Van Zandt. Now, the reason why I said was, well, we've seen quite a few times in AEW Brandy in the ring wrestling, and if you've seen her, you can tell she's not a good wrestler. She's not good. And Paige Van Zandt, of course, we know, again, for those who follow MMA, that she can hang in the ring or in the octagon or whichever stage she's on, but she can fight. But when it comes in the ring, when you have a former MMA athlete coming to professional wrestling, feuding with someone that can't wrestle, is not a good wrestler, is not a good formula for success. And it's just, hopefully this doesn't escalate much, but in the back of my head, I was thinking, oh no, please just this not happen. But luckily, we went from that to the Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black and Brody King. Boy, oh boy. The more you see them and their entrance, the more it just looks sick. The more it's just like, damn, they are a real treat and arguably the most entertaining act in the tag team division right now. Malachi Black and Brody King. Brody King's only been here a couple weeks, and boy, have they made an impact so far. Here they face Pac, and who's always good to see back, because with especially with travel restrictions and how he sometimes in the States and sometimes he gets stuck in the UK and this or that, but luckily he's back for hopefully longer. This was a relatively short but still fun match between the four. So Pac came down with bandages over his eyes, kind of as a ruse to confuse the House of Black. So he and Malachi were exchanging in the middle of the ring, and then eventually, while Black was knocked to the outside, Pac took the bandages off, hence, of course, the ruse. So then, after a beatdown by Pac for most of the match, out from break, a hot tag to Penta, sling blades, then a big DT to King, and then Black rolled up Penta for near fall, and then a blind tag hint by Pac, but a sliding knee by Black for near fall. Off the ropes, a rebound German suplex followed with a brainbuster by Pac for a 2 count. Broken up by Brody King. He and Penta were exchanging. On the outside, Penta hit a assisted tope to the outside. And then the finish of the match came when Penta and Pac went for the fear factor, but Brody sent Pac off the top rope to the outside, and then behind the referee's back, Black spewed the mist into Penta's eyes, and then he and Brody King followed up with the Dante's Inferno for the win. That assisted power slam, and the Kings of the Black Throne are now 2-0 in tag team competition. I think we of course know that Malachi Black is great enough to be AEW World Champion by himself, but it's a bit top heavy right now in AEW. And for now, while things get ironed out at the top, I could definitely see Black and Brody King be the AEW World Tag Team Champions for a bit while things at the top get a bit ironed out as we kind of figure after tonight's show. So we got Adam Cole backstage. He was filmed by Brandon Cutler. Of course, I'm not sure if he's actually there, but he knows how he's so undefeated, how that anyone who claims that Orange Cassidy beat him last week and that he's not undefeated, he'll slap you across the face. He knows that it was a fluke, and his record represents that. And he said that he's still getting disrespected around here. And now on Rampage, after he beats Evil Uno that he'll show and tell people what he wants. Could we see? Because I know wrinkles were thrown tonight, but could we see? Because Adam Cole is the number one contender, I believe, in the AEW rankings. But could we see at Revolution, because we're getting Hangman vs Lance Archer next week in Texas Deathmatch, Adam Cole challenge Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship at Revolution. And perhaps then we get the return of one Kenny Omega. And because Kenny's been off for pretty much, because that would be approximately 4.5 months, or yeah, November. Well, let's see. So Kenny left after the Dynamite after Full Gear. So November, December, January, February. Yeah, that's 4 months. So now again, we don't know because Omega has had many surgeries to repair throughout stemming from his AEW World title run. So, but I mean, 4 months, if Omega is healthy, because it'll be in a month, we could see Kenny Omega cost Adam Cole the AEW World Championship against Hangman, and that's how we get in the works the Elite versus Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and Bobby Fish. We'll see. Or the Paragon, which they're rumored to be called. That's a thought, but that would be interesting. So it should be a fine match between Cole and Evil Uno, because we know both can really go in the ring. So then we got Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho. This was much better than their match in the TBS title tournament. I mean, Ruby, we know, is really good. Nyla, she has her good and her bad, but this was definitely her good. And, Ruby, I still think, because she faced, I mean, it's hard to tell, but based on the finals, she should have won the TBS title versus Jade Cargill. Or you could have put it on Serena D, but nonetheless, she lost here for Nyla, a solid effort. Ruby, she actually managed to get Nyla on her shoulders in a fireman's carry and dumped her on the ring apron. Nyla hit a spinebuster on the outside. Back in the ring, Ruby hit the no future on Nyla for a near fall, but Vicky Guerrero put Nyla's foot on the bottom rope, and Ruby was going after Vicky, which, you know, hindsight 2020, not good, as Nyla got the advantage. She was perched on the top rope. Ruby went for a top rope Hurricanrana, which she almost got caught with a beast bomb, but Ruby countered out. Went for the no future off the top rope, but hit her head or miss and hit her head off the ring apron and or bounce off the mat. And Nyla took advantage, hit a senton to the back of Ruby, followed with a beast bomb for the win. Nyla Rose gets the win in a pretty good match between the women. Good stuff. Boy, I'm sure Jungle Boy's gonna be feeling this, but the Gun Club, they were backstage. They confronted Jungle Boy and 3-on-1 assault. So they're outside, and for those, depending where you are, it's snowing. It's snowing based on where you're from. We did get snow today, but yeah, so they were outside, and Billy Gunn threw Jungle Boy on this bed of snow, pretty much outside, and they scattered off after Christian Cage and Luchasaurus came for the rescue. To no avail, Jungle Boy is cold and covered in snow. So, there's that. So then we got Hangman, Adam Page, AEW World Champion. He was in the ring with Tony Schiavone. He knows how he doesn't care and welcomes the challenge of a Texas death match from Lance Archer. So he called out Lance, saying he's not waiting till next week. He wants a fight tonight. So out came Dan Lambert and Jake the Snake Roberts. So, a little odd seeing both Jake and Dan Lambert, because Dan Lambert we know is gold on the mic. Roberts we know is good, but he's had some health issues, and you just wondered maybe take a bit, step away, and have Dan basically be calling the shots, but both of them were out there, and out came Lance Archer saying, none of this, just go right to the action. So Archer charged to the ring. Hangman hit Suicida on Archer and went after Dan Lambert, but didn't take long for Archer to get the advantage. He hit a chair shot to the back of Hangman, flipped the steel steps on their side, and hit a devastating chokeslam to Hangman on the side of the steel steps, and then almost looked like he dropped him, but looked good. Archer hit a blackout to Hangman through the timekeeper's table on the outside, knowing how he's going to be the next AEW World Champion. Something that Archer, Saman made. It's going to be a solid match between the two next week, but unfortunately, although a part is pulling for him, Hangman is going to get the win next week over Archer. Simple as that. I just don't want. I hope that Archer does not get pulled to the wayside after a loss to Hangman. Because he's a monster. The Murhawk monster should be at the top of the card, should be built predominantly. So we'll see. But should be a fun match next week. Lineup for Rampage Friday. So mentioned Adam Cole versus Evil Uno. We got Ricky Starks versus Jay Lethal. Should be a fun match. Thunder Rosa versus Mercedes Martinez. Making an in-ring debut on Rampage. I'm kind of mixed on the result for this match because on one hand, I don't want to see Mercedes Martinez lose her first match in AEW, but at the same time, we know Thunder Rosa is pegging to face Britt Baker, which is the inevitable for the AEW Women's Championship, and she cannot lose anymore. So that's tricky. And then we got Sammy Guevara versus Isaiah Cassidy. Another open challenge for the TNT Championship. I mean, we had the Hardy Family Office segment earlier that was hit or miss. So, main events. MJF, who is very young and arguably the best at his age, the way his rise, and only 25. He's as good as anybody against CM Punk. This feud going on for months, and just the back and forth on the mic. Both guys are golden. Leading up to this match, how will it fare out in Chicago? We know CM Punk has gone through the rest of the pinnacle, FTR, Shawn Spears, and Wardlow. This match, I saw, because I looked at my clock, I noticed that there was a very good amount of time left before the 8 o'clock window. So I figured that this is going to be a very long, or I would say a long but very good affair. And it delivered. We know both are kind of old school. Had a false finish, but the finish was conclusive, definitely. So, at start match, MJF cowardly as ever, departed into the crowd, and they brawled into the stands. MJF got beer to the face. He was throttled on the guardrail. And then back in ring, they fought on. And then on the ring apron, CM Punk gave MJF a power slam on the ring apron. So I'm not sure who it was. It looked like UFC fighter Bilal Muhammad. Might not have been. Well, maybe they'll probably know who the fan was, but CM Punk had MJF propped up, and this fan slapped MJF in the chest. I mean, it's like for those who watch Hot Ones, you'll know that with the episode of the Chris Jericho and Chris Jericho, the episode he was on, he knew how one time when Bruce Willis was at a live event for WWE, he said how The Rock had him propped up and he thought that Willis was going to punch him in the face. But instead, he headbutted him in the chest. Well, come to this moment, I mean, just an odd moment to be slapped in the chest the way. Well, I'll give the fan credit. He probably has never been to wrestling school. That's just me. So funny moments. Back in ring, Punk was going for his signature elbow drop, but off top rope, but dropped on top rope by MJF. Punk hit Pepsi twist in the middle of the ring. All of a sudden, we see MJF with some wrist tape, it looked like. I didn't get the full view of it until the replay, but he used some wrist tape and on CM Punk for a sleeper hold, and he ended up choking out CM Punk, and MJF was declared the winner. But wait, Bryce Remsburg and the referees are pretty much made to look like fools, but this time was hilarious. Seeing MJF get caught and the wrist tape was unveiled. Remsburg was not happy. And so Remsburg went over to Justin Roberts and declared the match be restarted. So obviously MJF was livid. The crowd was joyful because obviously Chicago. So CM Punk rolled up MJF for a near fall, getting back in the thick of things. So then back from break, as MJF was knocked to the outside, Punk hit a springboard clothesline, but MJF had targeted CM Punk's arm for the majority of the match. His Serenity Lock basically on CM Punk. They exchange of strikes after MJF rolled up Punk from their fall. Punk hit Poison Rana and looked like he might have been worse for wear as well for it. But Poison Rana nonetheless on MJF from their fall. MJF was also targeting the knee of Punk. Hit some chop blocks. Hit a made in Japan for near fall. They were in the corner with Bryce, and MJF hit a low blow on CM Punk. Rolled up Punk with his feet on the ropes for near fall. Then a move he has not hit in since Ring of Honor. Punk hit a Pepsi plunge off the top rope onto MJF. Great spot to see. I mean, have not seen it in a long time. Long time. But so they were exchanging again. Punk hit a roundhouse kick. They were down. He is top rope elbow for near fall. Out came Wardlow. And Wardlow, this was interesting because, they're building up the eventual breakup of Wardlow and MJF. MJF was down, and Wardlow stepped in front to get in the face of CM Punk, but Wardlow walked off, seemingly giving the okay. So MJF was rolled back in the ring, and Wardlow slipped the Dynamite Diamond ring to MJF. And then while Wardlow had the referee distracted, MJF knocked out CM Punk with the Dynamite Diamond ring. Followed up on CM Punk. 1, 2, 3. And MJF is CM Punk's first loss in AEW. Some match. Boy, I did not expect this. But because MJF, he does not wrestle a lot. But when he does, he makes it count. And boy, did he make it count here against Punk. And Punk, it takes no shame from this loss. MJF just catapults himself more and more. I mentioned Adam Cole, but also MJF versus Hangman at Revolution. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. But boy, was this a fun episode of Dynamite. I mean, besides the nonchalant backstage promos with the Hardy Family Office and Chris Jericho, which by the way, they're having a Inner Circle meetup team meeting. So there's that. Along with the World Championship match next week, which should be interesting. But yeah, fun episode of Dynamite. Also, unfortunately for Brian Kendrick, it is the world we live in, so it is what it is. But yeah, nonetheless, that's the episode for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I did too. Good episode, Dynamite. And thank you all. Hope you can see this safely, because I know it's snowed in different places, so hopefully those who are watching are safe. But yeah, again, if you like this video, kick that like as well as the subscribe. But nonetheless, see you guys all back here Saturday for Rampage and then next week for Dynamite. But thank you all. Stay safe. Be happy. I am Angel to Love. I'm getting out of here. Peace.